Our first out-of-state customer all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. This one's got a laundry list of things. Let's get started. This is a 2011 Honda Accord, and it has low miles. It is in very good shape. This customer traveled all the way, just like I said, from Las Vegas. They want timing belt, water pump, valve adjustment, all kinds of things wrong, and they have a vibration in the steering wheel, which we found out what was wrong. So this list adds up pretty fast. This is one of those situations where the labor is quite intensive. The bill is going to be quite high. It's going to be over $2,000, which has already been approved. The customer is totally happy with the price. But let's take a look around this Accord. It is in really good shape. Here's the front of this Accord. It does have some little aftermarket items on it, like that grille, a few things of that nature. It's black in color. The paint shows very, very nice. As we go down the side, you can see the paint is in very good shape, and it has some aftermarket inky wheels. You guys can help me pronounce that in the comments. It does look like it has some aftermarket taillights. It is the Accord V6, but this thing drove so nice, except for one issue with the vibration. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here's our 3.5 V6, and Ariel is already diving in. We have the upper intake off, and he's already actually gotten the valve adjustments done, but I'm going to show you what's entailed in that. It's not a simple, easy job like it would be on a 4-cylinder. And yes, Hondas still have valve adjustments. We just had a 2020 in here. It was a CRV you guys saw a video on. It had specifications as well for valve adjustments. Here we are clear in the 2020s, and they still will not do hydraulic lifters. I'm not sure why, but they won't. You also saw that the front of the engine is all torn down to get to that timing belt. We're going to show you today why that's not a $50 job. It's quite extensive. But before we dive into all this and show you another part full of carts, we know you guys love parts full of carts. Let's head on into the interior. Mrs. Wizard can show you how nice and clean it is in there. Take it away, Mrs. Wizard.
Okay, ladies and gents, here we go. We got 95,000 miles on this. I can't turn it on because that engine is torn apart. But 95,000 miles, and it is going to present so well. Looking at that dash, everything is so clean in here. It is absolutely pristine. It's like it just rolled off the showroom floor in 2011. Some minor changes going on. Got a new stereo system in here. We've got a nice Pioneer system. I like how we move down by our gear selector. We've got a couple of nice little spots. Got one right back here. We can put something nice and hidden. Got an open spot nicely there. And I like how we open up this side and it says, not an ashtray. That is not an ashtray, even though it is by the cigarette lighter. Well, it could have been a cigarette lighter at some time in its life. Do have creature comforts. We've got some heated seats in there. We've got that, again, that gear selector, e-brake, cup holder. Got a nice little armrest here. And we've got a nice spot. Oh, look, it says Car Wizard. Love it. And got just a charge cord in there, keeping it clean. I am liking this car. We've got diamond stitching on our camel colored leather, and it's looking good. No stitches are broken. Nothing is looking bad. Door card. I like how we have the black on the top camel and that wood accent on that armrest. The back seat doesn't look like it's ever seen anybody back there. Definitely not little kids have been back there. I don't see any ground up Cheerios or Fruit Loops back there. Headliner, nothing sagging. Looking fabulous. As we get back to that steering wheel, everything, again, looking good. Do have a little bit going on right here because it does have 95,000 miles, and it is in the desert. Maybe not the New Mexico desert, but we're in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's got sun as well, and it's pretty intense up there too. So looking good. Lots of buttons on here that we need to keep us going down that road in a straight line. So looking good. Let's go ahead and get this up in the air and see what's going on the underneath. I think we're going to see a few other things that needed to be repaired.
So one thing we've seen under this car is conducive to this environment here in Las Cruces. It's the same as in Las Vegas. Very little rust underneath this car. I'm really loving that fact. Here we are underneath the vehicle. We can see at our radiator core support area, we don't have any leaks from anything going on there. We do have our transmission here, transaxle. We've drained the transmission fluid for a service, which we'll talk about here in a minute. We do have both CV shafts currently removed, and we'll show you that also. Here's our oil pan, nothing leaking from that, no issues there. Here's our exhaust. Look guys, it's smooth. There's not even any rust on it. It's amazing. Check out these wheels as best we can, even though they're kind of apart. About 70% on the brakes. The struts are not blown. Sway bar links are not loose. Same on the brakes here. Struts are not blown, sway bar link is not loose, and we are getting brand new CV shafts. And as you probably guessed, the CV shafts are removed because they were causing the vibration. When you get to speed, they start to vibrate and shake, and when you would accelerate and put tension on them, it would immediately go away. And as soon as you let off the gas, they start shaking again. I've been through this enough times, I know exactly what that is. It's CV shafts. There's a little play on the inboard joint and it just starts flopping around. But when you hit the gas, it puts tension and locks it up and keeps it from shaking until you let off the gas again, and then it's kind of starts shaking again. It can be easily confused with possibly bent wheels or something of that nature. We did check the wheels and we thought we saw one that might be a little bent on the front right, but the customer did advise us that on the stock wheels, it was still doing the same thing. He put brand new wheels on, it changed nothing. So obviously it wasn't a wheel issue. Here's our exhaust again, rust-free as we go down the back. Everything looks like brand new, guys. Shields are not corroded, no rust on the exhaust. Check these back wheels. About 60 to 70% on the brakes in the back. Sway bar links are not loose. The shock or strut is not blown. Nothing loose there. Brakes are about 60-70%. Sway bar links are good. Strut is not blown. Nothing loose there either. And just like on the CRV we just filmed, this doesn't have 2-into-1 exhaust. It has 1-into-2. One right here. It does have 2 coming off the engine. It goes into 1, back into 2 again with dual exhaust out the back. And in case you get stuck in the mud, it has a handy hook right here that you can tie onto. You can kind of really tell on cars when they're a cheap base model, very cheap company. They don't have this kind of things added to the vehicle that are kind of thoughtful. They're like, it'll cost an extra 10 bucks. We're not going to do that. But Honda spent the extra 5 or 10 bucks and put that on there for you. Let's get this thing on the ground and talk about why it's all apart and what's this going to cost. Sorry you didn't get all the music there, but I wanted to get halfway down and show you guys, if you're thinking about doing a timing belt in your driveway or in your garage, half of the job is up top in the engine bay. The other half is actually through your wheel well. You have to take the wheel off, take the plastic shielding and things away just to get to the bottom half. Take a look. You see we have our main pulley removed. We have all the timing marks lined up, ready to remove the old belt, which is definitely time. But you have to get down here and make sure you got your timing marks lined up, also to access to remove the old belt. And if you saw, the oil filter is in a strange location. If you had a blowout while you're turning, it seems like it could hit the oil filter, but it must not be that big of an issue. Let's get this thing the rest of the way down. So on the Honda V6, this is a common issue I have with the customers that they say, hey, I'd just like to have the valve adjustment checked. They think it's a 5-10 minute job. But as you can see, the intake, the way it's shaped, it sits over the top of the valve covers. You can't physically even get the valve cover off until you first remove the intake. Let's remove this out of the way. Then you can get to the valve covers. As you can see, there are bolts right here. There's no way you're going to get to those with the intake in the way. So they say, what's the cost to just check the valves? I say $400 or $500. Okay, what's the cost to actually do the job? $400 or $500. It doesn't. On this particular situation, you don't just check them. You do the job or you don't. The same labor is required to even get to the rocker arms to even check them. So this customer didn't really have an issue with that, but I've had customers say, isn't it cheaper if you're just checking them? No, it's not. Because we still have to go through and manually use a feeler gauge, and I'm going to show you that right now. So what we do is you look up the specifications for the minimum and maximum it should be, and you set up these little feeler gauges. It has basically go and no go. If one goes in, that's great. If the other one goes in, that's bad. It shouldn't go in, the big one. And you have to go through each and every valve. You can see you loosen the nut, and once it's loose, then you can get a flat screwdriver in there and make your adjustments. and you have to go to every single valve. Intake and exhaust down here, don't forget those, on both sides of the engine. So I've had customers actually argue with me in the office. They're like, I just don't understand why that's not a $50 job. As you see, it takes quite a bit of time, and we have to buy you new valve cover gaskets. We're not going to put your old ones back on and then have them start leaking, and they say, well, you're the last guy that worked on it. You caused a leak here. I expect you to redo the whole job. These are going in the trash. These are your old ones. They're not going back on. You get to buy a new set of those and a plenum gasket, which is right here. Actually where the intake mounts. Those are parts involved. It's a simple check, and I've actually had customers say, well, I don't understand why is there parts just to check something. Now you see why that there's parts involved just to even do a check. This one was a little bit bigger than they should be by about 1,000th. So we went through and did all the adjustments, and it's all within spec now. We're actually going back together as soon as we're done with this video. But let's take a look at the timing belt and water pump over here. So here we have the timing covers off, and you can see here's the water pump. I'm physically touching it with my finger. It's actually powered by the timing belt. You can't do the water pump without doing the timing belt. It is physically impossible, because also the water pump is behind here with bolts. It's kind of big. And you have to make sure everything's in time. Let me show you these marks here. There's a yellow mark, there's the yellow mark, and back here you can see all of our timing marks are exactly where they should be. The valve adjustment is not that big of a deal, but a timing belt or a timing chain is not for the inexperienced mechanic or a do-it-yourself person. It's not for the faint of heart, because if you get something wrong, you put it back together, that first crank, that first start could literally just destroy your engine. You get the timing off, and you could be having to buy a new engine. So you really need to have somebody in there that knows what they're doing. I've actually had people call and say, I've called several dealerships, several shops, and they're talking for my timing belt $1,200, $1,400, $1,500. Is that even right? That seems kind of high. That's exactly what it should be. In fact, I had a customer in here the other day. He's like, I've had 7 or 8 Hondas in my life. I never did a timing belt for less than $1,000. It always costs that much. The parts alone are half of that cost. Timing belt, water pump, tensioner, pulleys, all the different parts and pieces, and antifreeze. And then you got the 4, 5, 6 hours of labor depending on the vehicle. You arrive at that price. We didn't have to do all of this on the valve adjustments just to do the timing belt water pump, so that's additional to the timing belt job, and a transmission service, and CV shafts. We are going to be north of $2,000. He did get a price break with the labor with the serpentine belt, not the timing belt, the serpentine belt, which sits outside of the timing belt area, and the tensioner, because that has to come off anyways to even get to the timing belt. So obviously the labor is not going to be any different. It's just going to have the price of the parts. So here's our cart full of parts that Adiel is doing very good in keeping everything organized. Reminds me very much of Danielson, the way he worked. We have our upper intake plenum. We have the little cover that goes on top of that right here. We have the valve cover. And also the customer said, while you're there, my original power steering pump is starting to leak on the case. Can you go ahead and replace that as well, which adds to the $2,000, which the price is going up, guys. And here we have a brand new OEM power steering pump. Obviously this one is not leaking. So here's the water pump, a brand new one. I kind of wanted to show you that the timing belt is running this pulley right here. How are you going to get the water pump out without taking the timing belt off first? That explains why you always do both together. If the water pump's leaking, you're also getting a timing belt job. That explains it. And then to get the valve covers off, you have to take all 6 coils out. You can see our timing covers, they're little plastic covers here. That keeps and protects the timing belt. We have our power steering pulley. This is our tensioner for the serpentine belt. Has 2 pulleys on it. And they were starting to get loose. It's time for a new tensioner. This is a motor mount bracket, which you cannot get the timing belt off until you remove it. It's not a big deal on these though. And down below we have our main pulley, more engine mount brackets, some plastic covers, and the timing cover and some bolts. So as you can see, this is not a $100 or $200 job. This is a $1,000 or $2,000 job or more, depending on how much more you want to add to it. All the parts just arrived from Worldpac, and we are going to start reassembly here right after this video. Here's our old CV shafts, and the outboard joints weren't all that bad, but the inboard telescopic ones have play. I'll let you hear it in the microphone. They're kind of sloppy, and it doesn't take much, maybe 1/16 of an inch of play or something, to allow it to kind of flop around. The reason why is because where these seat into the vehicle, especially on this one, it's not exactly solid, like firm. There's a little bit of play even in the splines, and if something's out of whack just the tiniest bit, then it starts to get out of kilter. So those are off. Brand new OEM CV shafts are going back on. You can tell this customer really loves their vehicle. It's in such great shape. Loud Las Cruces. There we go, guys. So they've come all the way from Vegas. It's evident they really love this car because of the distance they've traveled to make sure it's done right. They know they will receive their car back without fingerprints, scratches, dings, cracks on the windshield, kind of monkeying around on the car. It'll be just the way they received it. It's the same way that they brought it to us. They plan on keeping this vehicle for quite a while, and they're doing the right thing by doing all the services. We're putting fresh DW1 transmission fluid back in, so it'll be serviced. The vibration will be gone, the timing belt will be up to snuff, which on a Honda is about 90 to 105,000 miles on most of them. You want to check your owner's manual for sure to see what it is. It's right at time for transmission service and a timing belt, water pump. Also, we're getting that valve adjustment done. This thing will leave here fully serviced, ready to go. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this Honda Accord or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use every day here in the shop, tried and true, are listed for sale there. And if you purchase anything, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. The schedule is already filled up. We're almost getting to September, guys. We are getting packed. It's really, really great. It's a great blessing to have. Thanks to you guys in the area that are bringing your cars in. We were kind of worried, Mrs. Wizard, weren't we?
It was, it's a leap of faith, and we're definitely blessed to have everybody to bring their cars to us. And
yep, they're very, very welcoming here. Very happy to see us. We didn't receive that red carpet welcome in Kansas, but we sure have here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell on the way out, because as you're seeing in the shop, no, we're not closing the shop and we're not shutting down the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.